In this video, I'm going to share with you 10 things every solo player needs to own in GTA Online. In the number 10 spot, we have armored vehicles for missions. Now, there are many armored vehicles in the game, but there are two that I think everyone should have. The first is the Duke of Death. It is almost completely bulletproof and is free, so it's great for new players to the game. And the second is the armored Kuruma, and although it isn't free, I do think it is the better of the two because it's even more bulletproof than the Duke of Death. Now, the reason why I think these two in particular are really important for solo players is because having a bulletproof vehicle is really important when you're trying to complete missions, whether it be setup missions for a heist or something like the Dr. Dre Contract. Being able to shoot at enemies and take them out while not being able to be shot at because you're inside the vehicle is a huge plus. Now, with that being said, they won't be very useful against other players in public lobbies, so I don't suggest using them there, but for solo missions, they are perfect, and that's why they're in the number 10 spot. In the number 9 spot, we have weapons, and similar to armored vehicles, there's tons of different weapons in the game, but there are a few that will really help you in missions. For close range combat, the assault shotgun is incredible. For medium to long range combat, the special carbine and the combat MG are great options. If you need to take out a helicopter or a vehicle, something like the railgun, the homing launcher, the RPG, even the minigun if you're high enough level are all great options. And of course, if you're in a vehicle like the armored Kuruma and need to shoot out of it, the best options are the AP pistol and the machine pistol. Having the right weapons in GTA Online is so important, especially when you're a solo player trying to complete missions or heists. They are truly a game changer. And speaking of game changers, in the number 8 spot, we have another game changer, and that is having personal quarters or accommodations at your businesses. Now, for some properties, the personal quarters or accommodations will actually come with the business, but there are many where you have to purchase them separately. But the reason why having personal quarters and accommodations at every property is so important is because once you have it at a property, you could then set it as a spawn location and session warp over to it. So if you set it to your spawn location, you load into a new invite-only session, you could then essentially teleport to that location in only a few seconds. And because when we play the game as a solo player, we're not tied down to one session like we would be when we're playing with other people, you can do this whenever you want, and it will save you tons of time in game. For me personally, it's had to have saved me at least a few dozen hours, which has allowed me to spend that time doing other things like making more money or buying different things in game. And it's because of that time saved that I think personal quarters have to be a thing that every solo player has. Coming in at number 7 on the list is a business or property that is fun to use while also having a unique benefit or utility. Now, there's a few different businesses in the game that checks off both boxes, but the two that I would suggest getting are the auto shop and the salvage yard. With the auto shop, you get access to the 8 auto shop contracts, which are all mini heists. They have 2 setup missions and 1 finale mission. They take 20 to 30 minutes to complete as a solo player, and 7 out of the 8 pay out between $150,000 to about $170,000, with the best contract paying out almost $300,000. They are a ton of fun to complete, and I always suggest people getting this business because it's important to make sure you're also having fun in the game while making money. But what makes the auto shop so good is its unique feature, which is the auto body shop in the auto shop. And that's because with this garage or auto shop, every single car customization in the game, aside from HSW and whatnot, is available to you, which means that none of them are locked behind completing a certain amount of stunt jumps or having reached a certain level in game. Right away, once you get the business, you could customize the cars exactly how you want. And not only that, every customization available is at a discounted rate, and some are even completely free. So if you're a car guy, having the auto shop is a must-have. And so it's because the auto shop offers fun heists as well as that cool feature that I think it fits perfectly into this spot. Like I said though, the other example of a fun business that also provides a unique utility is the salvage yard. Now, similar to the auto shop, the salvage yard has mini heists where you have a couple setup missions and a finale. You have to go out, steal a vehicle, bring it back, and then you could sell it for a profit. They take about 45 minutes to complete as a solo player and pay out between $150,000 to over $300,000. Once again, they are really fun to complete, but they can only be done once every real life week. But once again, what makes the salvage yard really cool is its unique feature, and that is the claimable vehicles. So once in a while, one of the cars that you steal in the weekly robberies can actually be bought for $10,000 to $20,000. And this is crazy because oftentimes the vehicles are $1 to maybe $2.5 million. I've personally claimed at least half a dozen vehicles since this feature was introduced in the game. I believe it was last year. And because of that feature, I was able to get tons of really cool cars in game and save myself millions of dollars, which is so important, especially when you're a solo player. And so once again, it's because the salvage yard offers something fun to do in game, plus a very unique feature that I think it's something that should be owned by every every solo player. Next up in the number 6 spot is a new addition to the list, and it is the Terrorbyte. Now, in order to get the Terrorbyte, you first have to own a Nightclub, but once you do, you could purchase it. And what the Terrorbyte is it's essentially a control center on wheels. And there are 3 main reasons why everyone has to have it. The first is that it has the nerve center, which allows you to start up a handful of different missions in game, as well as special cargo. So if you're grinding out the special cargo crate business, this is great and makes things a lot faster. But that's just one and probably the worst benefit of the Terrorbyte. The second benefit is the fact that it's the only place that you could upgrade the Oppressor Mk II, which is by far the best vehicle in the game. You're able to upgrade the boosters as well as add rockets to it, making it the absolute best vehicle in the entire game. So having the Terrorbyte is crucial just for that. But the third benefit of it is by far the best, and is something that was just added in the most recent update, and that is the ability to buy and have the Master Control Terminal in it. Now, for those who may not know, the Master Control Terminal is essentially a supercomputer. You're allowed to access the computers of many different businesses all from one location. So you could go in, resupply, start a supply mission, or even start a sell mission for your Nightclub, for your MC businesses, for special cargo, for vehicle cargo. It gives you access to the computer for almost every important business in the game, which means you're able to manage all those businesses from one central location instead of having to go to each one individually to do all that work, which makes grinding passive income businesses in the game so much easier. And it's because of those 3 benefits, plus the fact that the Terrorbyte can be called in wherever you are on the map, that it had to be on this list. And it's also in part of the reason why the thing in the number 5 spot is on this list, and that is the Nightclub. Now, the Nightclub is one of the best businesses in the entire game, but as I said earlier, it's also the thing you need to get the Terrorbyte. So that alone makes it a must-have, but the business side of the Nightclub is arguably more important than even the Terrorbyte. Now, with the Nightclub, there are 2 main ways to make money, and the first is through the Nightclub wall save. Every in-game day or 48 minutes, depending on how much Nightclub popularity you have, a set amount of money will be deposited into the wall save. If you have maxed out popularity in the Nightclub, $50,000 will be deposited into the wall save every in-game day, making it one of the easiest ways to make millions of dollars in GTA Online. The second way to make money with the Nightclub is through the Nightclub warehouse. The way the warehouse works is you could hire up to 5 technicians and assign them to source you products which you could later sell for a profit. The technicians source the products for you in the background, so all you have to do is be in an online session, making the sourcing part of this money method completely passive. Now, there are 7 different products you could assign the technicians to source, but there are 5 that are the best. The only thing is that in order to assign a technician to source you a certain type of product, you first have to own and have set up a corresponding business in the game. But with that being said, the 5 best products and the businesses you need to own are cargo and shipments, which you need a CEO special crate warehouse or hangar for, sporting goods, which you need a bunker for, South American imports, which you need a coke lockup for, pharmaceutical research, which you need a crystal lab for, and finally cash creation, which you need a counterfeit cash factory for. If you have all 5 technicians assigned to those 5 products and have the equipment upgrade for the Nightclub, those technicians will source you $50,000 worth of product every single hour. And so if you combine the Nightclub warehouse and wall safe earnings, you can make up to $100,000 as a solo player with it every single hour. And it's because of the easy money you could make with the Nightclub and the ability to buy the Terrorbyte that the Nightclub has to be number 5 on the list. In the number 4 spot, we have the Oppressor Mk II, and as I said earlier, it is by far the best vehicle in the entire game. And that's because it's a rocket-powered bike. The Oppressor Mk II is extremely fast and most importantly extremely agile, since it is essentially just a bike, so you're able to get in and out of very tight spaces, making it great for any mission or any task you have to complete in the game. And the fact that you could add homing missiles to it just makes it completely overpowered. There's really not much more to say about it. It's just better than any helicopter you could get, any bike you could get, any armored vehicle you could get. Quite frankly, once you get the Oppressor Mk II, you won't need to have any other vehicle in the game. Now, it does have a really hefty price tag, but it's 100% worth the price, and it's because it's so useful that it has to be number 4 on this list. Next up in the number 3 spot, we have another passive income business, and in my opinion, it's the best one in the entire game, and that is the Acid Lab. In order to get the Acid Lab, you first have to complete the 6 First Dose mission storyline, but once you've done that, You could then purchase it from Mutt at the Freak Shop for 750k. And in order to make the most amount of money with it, you also have to get the equipment upgrade, which requires you to do 10 Fooligan missions. Now, the way the business works is you either purchase or steal supplies, and over time those supplies get turned into product, which you could later sell for a profit. The best way to make money with the business is to buy supplies for $60,000, and after 1.6 batches of supplies, the acid lab will be completely filled up in roughly 4 hours time. Once the acid lab is full, you can then sell it for up to $350,000 in an invite-only session if you rename the acid. But if you really want to max out your money with the business, it's best to sell it in a public lobby with 20 or more people, because then you'll get the 50% high demand bonus, taking the total sale up to just under $530,000. Since you only have one sell vehicle and you could use Ghost Organization when doing the sell missions, doing it in a public lobby every time is really simple. That's what I do. And so if you decide to do it as well, it means you can make $400,000 with it every 4 hours, meaning you make 100k per hour profit as a solo player. And so because the acid lab is really easy to run as a solo player, plus it's technically free because the missions you have to do to get it pay out more than the business costs, is the reason why it has to be number 3 on this list. Coming in at number 2 on the list is the agency, and there are tons of benefits of this business. The first of which being its 4 ways to make money. The first way to make money with the agency is with the security contracts. They're simple 5 to 10 minute missions and pay out to between 30 to 60k each time. Many can be done per hour, so they are a great way to make money. The second way to make money with the agency is the agency wall safe, and the way it works is depending on how many security contracts you've completed, a set amount of money will be deposited into the agency wall safe every in-game day or 48 minutes. For every security contract you complete, $100 will be added to the total that is deposited into the agency wall safe every in-game day. There's a cap of 200 contracts, so up to $20,000 that you could earn per day with the agency wall safe, but that alone is a great way to make money. The third way to make money with the agency is with the payphone hits, and in order to access them, you have to complete 3 security contracts, but once you've done that, you can then do them, and they are simple 5 to 10 minute assassination missions where you go out and take out one or multiple targets, and if you complete the assassination with a bonus, you can make $45,000. The payphone hits only have a 10-minute cooldown, so they can be done multiple times per hour, making them a great supplementary money method. And finally, the fourth way to make money with the agency is the best out of them all, and that is the Dr. Dre contract. Once again, you have to complete 1 security contract to be able to do it, but the way the Dr. Dre contract works is it's essentially a large heist. You have 3 mini heists plus 2 finale missions. It takes about an hour and a half to complete as a solo player, and at the end of it, you get paid out roughly $1.1 million. The Dre contract is a top 3 way to make money in the entire game, and it's a large reason why the agency is on this list. But there are 2 more huge benefits to the agency, with the first being the armory. The armory is a weapons workshop that allows you to buy Mark II weapons, which can really help you in missions and in the game in general. As I said earlier in the video, so having the armory is a huge plus, and the other major benefit of having the agency is the vehicle workshop. And the reason why is because with this vehicle workshop specifically, it allows you to get Imani tech on certain vehicles. Imani tech allows you to add missile lock-on jammers to vehicles or even armor plating, which can be really helpful when you're in a public session. So it's because of those 2 add-ons plus the 4 ways to make money that the agency is a must-have for every solo player in GTA Online. And with that, in the number 1 spot on the list, we have the Kosatka submarine, and it's for 2 reasons. The first is that it allows you to get the Sparrow helicopter, which is one of the best aircrafts in the entire game, but the second and the most important one is the fact that it allows you to do the Cayo Perico heist. The Cayo Perico heist is the best money method in the entire game, and what it essentially is you sneak onto a private island, take loot from around the island and a primary target in a central compound, and if you could escape the island successfully, you could make anywhere between $800,000 all the way up to $1.5–1.6 million. It can be done completely solo, and usually it only takes about an hour to complete. Now, there is a 2.5 hour cooldown if you complete it as a solo player, but there's not a single money method in the entire game that comes even close to the Cayo Perico heist. And it's for that reason alone that I think it's the number 1 thing that every solo player needs to own in GTA Online. But with that, that was 10 things every solo player needs to own in GTA Online. I hope this video helped. If it did, please drop a like. If you're new, subscribe. I will see you in the next one. Peace.